All right, Algebra 2 fans. Today we're going to be talking about some more polynomial division, which now we can use synthetic division, and we're going to be talking about what's called the remainder theorem. Okay, so first of all, here's some just notes that I got from an old textbook that hits home a lot of good stuff. So, and notice how this is saying P of x is the dividend, which is what we're dividing, D is the divisor, times the quotient, plus the remainder will equal our polynomial. P of x is the polynomial. Okay? So when we divide a polynomial P of x by a divisor D of x, a polynomial Q of x is the quotient and a polynomial R of x is the remainder, blah, 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 right? Okay, so the quotient must have degree less than of the dividend, and the remainder must either be a 0 or have a degree less than that of the divisor. Okay. And if the remainder is 0, if R of x is 0, then the divisor is a factor. So there's a lot of good information here. Okay. So down over here they talk about this factor theorem. So if for a polynomial f of x, if f of c, remember f of c was what we were dividing by, was the possible root. If that equals 0, then x minus c is a factor. Okay, so here's a remainder theorem right here. If a number c is substituted for x in the polynomial f of x, then the result f of c is the remainder that would be obtained by dividing f of x by x minus c. That is, if f of x is equal to this, then f of c is the remainder. Okay? Now notice how it's written out. So if x minus c is the factor, that's right, the possible root we've talked about is c. So this is the factor, possible factor. Then the possible root is c. And we've talked about that already. And so this is what they did. They did the long division. They did x plus 2, blah, blah, blah. And they have their 80 as a remainder. Notice how everything lines up. Oh, know what? I don't like this. This should have been moved over. Sorry about that, folks. And you know what? Obviously, the editor who did the editing on this book did not have a mathematician editing their work. Okay, but this should have been lined up. All your 4s, your cubes, everything's supposed to line up. They didn't do a good job lining things up here. Okay. So, you see this piece right here? You see how it says f of x, and you see how it says then f of c equals the remainder? Guess what I can do? You see this x plus 2? So I can swap that, make this, so this is the possible root. This is the possible factor, so what's the possible root? That's right, negative 2 is the possible root. So I literally could do f of negative 2, and watch. I can plug in negative 2 for all of those spots. Negative 2 to the 4th minus 6 times negative 2 third plus 9 times negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 minus 12. I know it's a lot. You guys have a calculator that you can just type this right into a calculator. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. On the calculator, you got to use your parentheses. So parentheses, negative 2 square raised to the power of 3. So I have to do x raised to the y key, 3. Oop, that's not a 3, that's a 4. 4 minus 6, parentheses, negative 2 x raised to the y, 3. If you have a graphing calculator, that's going to be your caret key. Plus 9, parentheses, negative 2, there's a square button for me, squared, plus 4 parentheses, negative 2, close parentheses, minus 12 80. Look at that. So all of this equals 80. Isn't that what the remainder was? So if they're giving you a possible factor, change it to a possible root, and then just plug it in, and we can get 80. Okay? Or you can do your synthetic division. Okay? Or you can do synthetic division. So, all right. Let's look at our question number 1. What is the remainder when this polynomial is divided by x plus 1? I am not going to do long division. I don't need to do long division because I can do this. I can do a substitution. If this is the possible factor, remember, possible factor, possible root, that is -1. So according to the remainder theorem, all I have to do is plug in -1. Okay? So all we're going to do is plug in -1. So -1 cubed minus 3 times -1 squared minus 5 times -1 minus 2. Let's crunch this out. So -1 to the power of 3 is -1. -1 squared is +1 times -3 is -3. Negative times negative is +5 minus 2. Now I just got to clean this up. And we get -4 plus 1. We have -1 as a remainder. There is your remainder. Okay. That's it. That's all I have to do. Plug it in. What's the remainder? Plug in the possible root. That's it. Hey, I'm going to do the exact same problem now. I'm going to do it with synthetic division. You may want to do it with synthetic division. It's up to you. Remember, I showed you synthetic division, so we don't have to do long division. Look at what happens when I do synthetic division. Now remember, when we do synthetic division, we use the possible root. So I'm still using this -1. And that's right. And with synthetic division, we need the coefficients. So 1, -3, -5, -2. Right? We drop the lead term. And then we just start multiplying. -1 times 1, -1. That gives us -4. We add. Then we have +4. Then we add. And -1 and is 1. And then we add. What's our remainder? That's right. -1 is the remainder. We did it 2 ways. We did it by plugging in, or we did it by synthetic division. So this was... Actually, I'll write it over here. Okay, we did it 2 ways. We came up with the same answer 2 ways. All right, so let's look at this one now. Is x plus 1 a factor of x cubed minus 3x squared minus 6x plus 8? So is it a factor? Okay. And then I'm saying, so here's an A, and then here's a B. There. That's all I need. It's all the room I need. So we can do this one of 2 ways. We can do the synthetic division, or we can do the plug-in. I think what I'm going to do is I'll do the plug-in for this one, then over here I'll do synthetic division. Okay? So, why would it be a factor? If it's a factor, it has to have a remainder of 0. That's this right here. For a polynomial f of x, if f of c is 0, then x minus c is a factor. So that f of c literally means the possible root. What's the possible root here? That's right, the possible root is -1. Possible root is -1. So I'm going to do that f of c. I'm going to do the f of -1 on this mess. So -1 cubed minus 3 times -1 squared minus 6 times -1 plus 8. And let's just crunch it out. So -1 cubed, -1. -1 squared is positive, so that's still -3. Here's a plus 6 plus 8. And so then you got your calculator for this. No excuses for you to get this wrong. You have a calculator. You can type this all into the calculator, and we have 10. Okay, so what are we going to say? We're going to say not remainder. So no, we're going to say not factor. Remainder is not 0. The remainder is not 0. Okay? I don't care what the remainder is. It's just not a 0. All right, so now look at this. So now x minus 1. So we can do the same thing. We can plug it in. So we can do the f of +1 now. Remember, opposite. And we can crunch it out. Or we can do synthetic division. Okay, I'm doing it with synthetic division on this one, I told you. So drop the 1. 1 is -2. -2 is -8. Look at that, -8. We have a remainder of 0. So this is yes factor remainder is 0. Okay. All right. So yes, if you plug this in, f of 1, this equals 0. Plug it into your calculator, verify it for yourself if you have to. That's what this whole piece is about now. I can either do a substitution or else I can do the synthetic division. You don't have to do long division. If you're doing long division, your choice, but you're making more work for yourself. Is x plus 3 a factor? Well, I'll do it with substitution. Then I'll do the next one with synthetic division. How's that sound? Actually, no, I'll do this one. I'll do this one with the substitution. Okay, and then I'll do it with the synthetic. Synthetic takes all of a second, right? So what are we going to use? That's right, we're going to use -3. That's what we use. That's the potential. So all we got to do is plug in. So -3 to the third plus 2 times -3 squared minus 5 times -3 minus 6. You have a calculator. Type it into your calculator. There's no excuses. Okay, there's no excuses. Type it into your calculator. You get 0 when you type this in. So we plugged in and we get 0 for a remainder. Okay, so yes, a factor, remainder is 0. Okay? Now look at it synthetically. Remember? So 1, 2, -5, -6. drop the 1. That's right. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Add. Negative 3 times negative 1 is 3. Add. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Remainder is 0. Okay? So yes, a factor, remainder is 0. What is the remainder when this is divided by that? Well, we can do the substitution again. If I'm doing substitution, what do I use? That's right, you would use the plus 2. So we can plug in a positive 2. Okay, and then you can crunch it out. Type this into the calculator. And the question is just saying, what is the remainder? It's not asking you about factor, blah, 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 blah. Plug this into your handy-dandy calculator right here, just like this, and you get 29. All right, that's the plugging in. Now I'm going to do it with synthetic division. 4, negative 3, 1, 7. Drop the 4. 2 times 4 is 8. We add. 2 times 5 is 10. We add. And 2 times 11 is 22. There's your remainder. Nor did I did long division on this. I used synthetic, or I did my plugging in to figure out what the remainder is. All right, let's look at question number 5, our last one. So, it says P of x is equal to this mess. Then it says P of negative 4 is equal to 0. What are the other two roots? All right, what does this mean? P of negative 4 equals 0. That's right. This negative 4 is a root. That's what that means. Negative 4 is a root. Now, in order for us to find the other two roots then, we have to use negative 4 to come up with, we have to use negative 4 in synthetic division, okay? We have to do this by synthetic division. Why am I saying that? I cannot plug in negative 4. If I plug in negative 4, it just gets 0. And we're not just going to start randomly guessing values. And I'm not going to do long division with x plus 4. So do not do long division with x plus 4, the factor. Absolutely not. No, do not do this. We have synthetic division. Watch what I mean. And then we're going to set this up. 1, 1, negative 10, 8. Remember, it's right, we drop the lead. So we start our multiplying. Multiply. We already know it was a 0. We have to find the other two roots. Now, what degree? This is, that's right, this is a second degree. That's right, that's x0, x to the 1, x to the 2. So we're looking at x squared minus 3x plus 2. Now, all I have to do is factor this and solve it, and we're done. I'm running out of room. I'm going to do it up here. So I have x squared minus 3x plus 2. That's nice and easy to factor. 2 and 1, right? Minus and minus, so we have 2 and 1 for the other roots. And we found the other roots. Okay? So we do not do long division with x plus 4, and you cannot plug in negative 4 because it doesn't get you anywhere. You have to do your synthetic division. Once you do your synthetic division, we easily come up with our quadratic, and then we easily factor it. And we're done. Okay, folks. You're going to be seeing those in your homework questions. Have a good day.